Yeah, we're doing topic of the week, Tatu. And this week's topic is games that are too hard, games that are too difficult, games that are hard in a good way. You know that we're all about Dark Souls. Finished Dark Souls 3 this weekend, so props to me. But what makes a hard game good? What makes a hard game bad? I'm going to go ahead and start off with an example of a couple of games that are, they're classics, but they're too hard.
Sure.
Ghosts and Goblins. You have 2 hits and you die.
Yeah. There's
a lot of randomization in that game. One of our friends, Tanner, actually beat Ghosts and Goblins, which is amazing to me. And so like it's a ridiculously hard game. And when you get to the end, then the end boss goes, "You didn't beat this game. Go back and try again."
Yeah.
Sucker. And it's meant to encourage you to do it again or whatever, but no, that is poor game design.
It's very poor game design. I would put on here the original Castlevania.
Okay.
In regards to poor game design as well, also just too high of a difficulty curve. There's another game that I'll say I'll put on here to an extent. I think the difficulty curve is better, but the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for the for the NES.
Yeah.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the water level, and I think that overall the game is very good. But I think that addition of the game so early made it just unbearable.
Yeah.
Also having turtles that have like way too little of a time for air and. Yeah, there's a lot of problems with that.
Continuing with Turtles, Battletoads, that stupid bike level.
Yeah.
is I'm sorry, that's way too hard.
Battletoads,
because like yes, there's a pattern and you have to learn it, but like actually learning it and implementing it, because you can know exactly what's coming up at any given time, and like I knew the pattern right up until like the final jump thing. But the timing on that is really, really hard, and I was just never able to pull it off.
Yeah. This is a completely different topic. Well, it's the same topic but different gear. Myst.
Okay.
So puzzle-wise, Myst is very difficult.
Yeah.
And you can hit a wall very easily.
I played it, never finished it.
Yeah. So I think that some game, because in my opinion, Myst and Riven didn't ease up enough into how the world works and the puzzles work.
Yeah.
Where certain other games do better. I'm going to be playing The Witness soon, by the way, and I'm hoping it has a better conveyance in regards to puzzles.
Well, as I understand The Witness, its puzzles are designed on teaching you mechanics that you then bring into other puzzles.
And
that's the way to do
it
puzzles.
Yeah. So backing away from puzzles, though, I think another great hard game from like the retro era is Punch-Out. Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, or Punch-Out Mr. Dream if you want to be stupid about it. It's Mike Tyson's Punch-Out.
Yeah.
I think that game. So one of my favorite things about that game is the way that not only does it cue you in on something's going to happen, but every single boss has their weaknesses
and their
tells, and it gets increasingly harder, but at a relatively normal pace.
Until Tyson.
But that's
Tyson
fine.
Is brutal.
That's fine.
He's the final boss.
Yeah, that's the final boss. But I think that there are other games like Dark Souls and Bloodborne that are difficult, but they're very difficult, but they're difficult and fair in their difficulty.
Yeah.
You died. Well, you shouldn't have. You should have dodged a little sooner, or you shouldn't have gone off that cliff.
Well, the thing, I've actually been thinking about this over this past weekend while we saved up for this, and one of the things that makes Dark Souls work so much better than a lot of other things is if you can get back to where you were before, you have the option to pick up your souls and bounce.
Yeah.
Like you can use that to make progress, to level up, to buy fire bombs, to do different things.
I wish I couldn't be invaded when that was happening, though. But then again, that's always, because you're always going to pick up souls. there are a lot of times where I will have a ton of souls sitting at an area that I'm going to run towards. And
if you're on a soul run, though, you're not embered.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So unless you manually make it possible for you to be invaded, that's in there.
That's true.
And that's one of the reasons that Dark Souls works so well.
Yeah.
And because all you have to do is get back to where you were, then you can do that again.
You can homeward bone.
You can
get out.
You can do that again. You can progress through. You can do a little better that time. Get a little bit further, and you have these options.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it just so wonderful. And then the bosses, the inclusion of shortcuts and like the game design that Miyazaki has control of is so wonderful.
Yeah.
And a lot of the games that we're talking about are kind of older games, but I'm going to bring up one that we did for the PlayStation Plus, which was Fury.
Yeah.
And the reason that is a game that is hard and not good is because the mechanics themselves are convoluted. Yeah. The invincibility, because you have a dodge roll mechanic, that the invincibility frames are different depending on if you're being shot by a projectile, if you're being hit with a melee weapon, or if you're being hit by an AoE.
Yeah, and that's not
okay. I need to be able to have my timing. Okay, something's coming at me, circle. And then I need to dodge this way. But if it's like a wave of stuff coming at me, you need to be at the end of the roll and this is not helpful.
Not helpful at all. So. I think there's a lot of different difficult games that if you hit a wall too early, that it will shut down a lot of players because they don't want to push through that. It's
you want to be able to feel like you're making progress. And Christian kind of talked about that.
Yeah.
Christian Michaels on the TWIOCH Facebook page says, a good hard game gives you enough information that you can know what you need to improve, allows you to improve without significant punishment for failure, and makes success fun rather than just a relief from failure.
Yeah.
A game that's too hard fulfills only some or none of these requirements. The key philosophical difference is this: good games want their players to get better at the game. A poorly designed difficulty curve is either too focused on the punishment rather than the improvement, or isn't even aware of how hard it is.
And I completely agree with that, because with a Souls run in Dark Souls, if you're going to pick up your go to your bloodstain, all your items are still on you.
Yeah.
I mean, your gear is still with you. If you had to run back to get your gear like you do in a lot of MMO, no, that would be ridiculous. So that would make it too hard because of the way the rest of the game is structured.
Yeah.
With an MMO, there are kind of ways around it.
Right, resurrection or help or just running through to
like
the
Diablo
line.
2 style, where you have to do a corpse run to get your stuff. That can be way too challenging in this type of environment.
Yeah.
And I think it goes back to conveyance. Is the game telling you, did you die fairly or did you lose fairly? And is the game, in a way, conveying it to you to let you know why you died, and why it was fair, what you can do better next time to improve?
And that's one of the things, and I think I already talked about this at one time, but when Cameron was playing Dark Souls, and the first time that he went into a room and he was like, oh, I see an item, charge, and then like 3 guys come in from dark corners of the room, stab, and he just laughed.
Yes,
because it's funny.
Yes,
because if you're playing Ninja Gaiden, and you die on the final boss, and then it kicks you back to the beginning of World 6.
Yeah.
Screw you, game. I'm going home. I don't want to play you anymore. This is an unfair thing that keeps me from being able to practice, because by the time I get back to the boss, I'm so tired of just trying to get through your regular game that I don't have the energy to fight this boss again. Yeah,
I think I talked about in the Gold Plus Roundup. By the way, if you aren't checking out Gold Plus Roundup and you've stayed out this long, why aren't you listening to Gold Plus Roundup? When we review all the games of the Gold games and the PlayStation Plus games, the Xbox, when they did the WWE 2K16, I mentioned how hard it was. The reversals were way too hard, and it didn't tell you. It said too early or too late. But
it doesn't help you get better.
No.
And that's what Christian talked about. He said good games want their players to get better at the game.
And what I would have preferred, because specifically in the game when I was playing it, it'll give you like a stats thing at the end, and I really think it would be really an improvement on the WWE game, because I was playing a career mode where you're an up and coming new guy, and there's already there's a coach who's saying, hey, we want to try you out on this match. I think it'd be really cool. Yeah, it'll be a canned answer. But if after the match you come back to the locker room and he's like, hey, you really got to work on your reversals. Maybe you should spend some time working on that, because you have stats in the game.
Yeah.
You have stats you can level up. Maybe your reversals aren't too high. So you can specifically say, you need to work on your reversals. And maybe you could change it to say, you're a little sloppy, meaning my gameplay.
Yeah.
And your skills aren't up to par, meaning my stats. And if you could give me that, after the match, I could go, oh, yeah, it's maybe it's a little bit me, maybe, or he could say you're I can see you're trying hard, but your skills aren't up to par. Oh, I need to level that up. I'm doing it right, but give me something.
Yeah, some kind of feedback that lets me know, what I need to be doing.
Yeah.
We have some more comments from the fans, which is Chris White says a good hard game has solid mechanics, rewards you for completing tasks, and ramps up the difficulty at a good pace to make sure you have a fair shot. A game that is too hard either has broken mechanics, doesn't reward you for completing challenge, or drops you into the deep end without a chance.
Yes, and that's kind of what I was talking about when it came to Punch-Out. Punch-Out ramps it up gradually, and a good game does that as well. I think that the Castlevania from the get-go is very hard, but it's also not, there's not really a lot of leeway. I think that the Dark Souls games do this in a very great way. Bloodborne does as well, where you start out and they show you, literally telling you, hey, this is how you do this, this is how you do this, and then they specifically put enemies in the situation that you may show up in. Yeah. Where you'll have a note on there, specific, not a note from a player, but a note by the developer saying, watch your back, or this is how you do a backstab, and then it shows you that. And it puts you in a scenario, I think the beginning of Dark Souls 3 is a great example of that. You have a very specific scenario where it shows you all these different options. Then you're put into the real world where you can see, and it's also, it also opens up a little bit there, so it's very conveyant of what's actually happening. You're out of the tutorial, but you're not out of the tutorial, because you run into people who are coming in from the side. If you're going specifically for an item, there's an enemy right behind that's going to backstab you. Yeah, but it doesn't kill you.
And it sets you up for a plunging attack, and allows them to get plunging attacks on you. And it has you have a melee character, and then you have a melee character and a ranged character. That it has both of them together. And there's two, and it throws different combinations at you, so that you can immediately apply what you learned 5 minutes ago. And there's even
and they don't one shot kill you. So if you realize, oh, this is happening, then you immediately say, oh, this could happen later on, and I need to worry about that. I need to be cognizant of that.
And they also a lot of the super hard stuff right at the very beginning is optional or meant to teach you, because in Demon Souls, in Dark Souls 1, they have a stupid hard boss right at the beginning who can technically be killed, but no noob's gonna do that.
You're not supposed to kill them.
Yeah. And like the Crystal Lizard in Dark Souls 3, like you can go forward, you can take him on. He's almost boss level hard. But you don't have to fight him. You can wait on that and come back later and kick that Crystal Lizard's butt.
It's to teach you, hey, you're gonna come up against these obstacles, and that's okay.
That's okay. And also, if there's something that's too hard, try another angle.
Exactly, because that part specifically, you have a tutorial, and if you go to the right, there's a Crystal Lizard. If you go straight, then you're not going to hit that.
Right, and it locks you into a boss area, and it's like, okay, this you do have to do. This other thing, you can come back later. And it's super fun to come back later and be like, I've got all the things. Or pew.
or pew
Which is
is
how
what
I-
he did, which I did dodge, step, dodge, step. But
Yeah.
I'm considering playing another round of it, depending on time a lot and everything. It probably won't have it for a long time.
Yeah.
I want to do it as a caster, because I did melee this time. I started as a caster, ended up doing a dex build, but I want to try it as a caster because there's some really cool spells in it. But you end up being glass cannon, so maybe I'll respec my character. What?
I mean, you could put points into
I
HP.
could put points into HP.
Or you could be a boss and beat it without putting any points into HP.
Yeah, that's how he does it. Because I didn't.
That's how I like to do
I
it.
didn't.
So yeah, keep tweeting at us.
Yeah.
Hit us up on Facebook. Let us know what you think. And
At TWIOCH everywhere except for on Twitch, which we are TWIOCH Gaming.
Right.
One day that guy's gonna give me his account or his username.
Someday.
So
So
yeah.
thanks for watching. We will see you next week, and have a good game.
Love you guys. Thank you for watching This Week in Our Collective Heads. Subscribe to watch more content that was like that or different.
And communicate to us. We are on Facebook. We are on YouTube. We are on Twitch. We are all over the place. You can pretty much find us as This Week in Our Collective Heads or TWIOCH, except we're TWIOCH Gaming on Twitch. So find us there. Communicate with us. We'll hit you back.
Love you guys.
Thank you.